Hey y'all, it's your girl Stephanie of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. Of course, the show has been on hiatus since after WrestleMania due to the fact that my family has endured a immense loss as my mother, Sephra Adeline Hobson Hardy, passed into the next life on a higher plane the Tuesday after WrestleMania. And I have been taking some time with my family, and I've seen a lot of people send their condolences and their love and their prayers over the past couple of weeks. And I'm really grateful for that. But I wanted to start this new episode of the show by talking a little bit about her and how our relationship ties into wrestling just a tad bit. Mom was not a wrestling fan. um it was always me and my dad, and I've addressed that multiple times before. But when it comes to wrestling, my mom was kind of on the outside looking in until one day in 2019 where me and her in the picture, as you can see, with Charlotte Flair. She went with me at a meet and greet at Cricket Wireless here in Birmingham, and she started to see how passionate wrestling fans are and how passionate I was about it. And she always knew it, but she had always been on the outside looking in. And as the years had passed by since I had started the podcast and started my wrestling media career, she had been nothing but supportive of my endeavors, um, giving encouraging words and all of the above, and just telling me and reiterating the advice that she had given me my entire life to help me perform to the best of my ability in all things. And everything that I have done, um, even before the podcast and even afterward, has been a testament to how she raised me and my sister as well. And I just wanted to come on here and publicly say on this platform that HWP does not exist without Sephra, without my mom. And because of years of her telling me, you're going to do the best you can because you're my child and because I've given you everything you need to survive in this world, I'm going to continue to do that. And that spirit will always live in this podcast and in everything that I do from now into the rest of my life. So thank you, Mama, for being the very best mom that anybody could ask for. And I'll see you later, and your brown baby is going to hold it down. And I'm going to continue to shine my light and not hide it because that's how you raised me. I love you so much. This is the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. All right, and with that in mind, we're going to start this new episode of HWP Extra. Of course, I'm your girl, Stephanie Hardy, host and creator and founder of this fabulous platform, co host of Steph and Cat Talk Wow, which has also been on hiatus, but we will be back pretty soon because I'm still trying to ease my way back into things. But of course, I'm not alone. I'm happy to be here tonight with my co host, my amazing wrestling fan, my future ring announcer of the future, Bianca Addison. How have you been, lovely?
I love you.
Oh,
You're
God.
great. Oh my god, I've been well. A lot has been going on. I've been very busy, very productive, but I've been trying to, not go berserk, go crazy, just trying to take it one day at a time. And we at everyone who's watching and everyone who has been watching, um, and we haven't been doing this together for a long time, but um, I just want to say, on behalf of everyone who's watching, who has watched, I just want to say that I love you and you're amazing. And I see your resilience. I don't know you apart from this podcast, but um, I see how you just I see how resilient you are and how strong you are and how you just like keep going. And I know you're hurting, but I see through your strength. And Miss Hardy, I see. I don't know. I wish I love hearing the stories about her through you on this podcast. And I didn't know that she wasn't into wrestling. That's a very interesting uh facts you brought up. And that's that. And just hearing that, how she, this whole creation is a testament of her, and you're living, her spirit lives through you. And yeah, just yeah. And I'm happy that this podcast is thriving, and you're you're doing the Hardy name very proud. And I know she's looking down at you, very, very proud. She's smiling right now. She said, "That's my baby. That's my baby." Uh,
Oh, absolutely. Like, I can't tell you, because we live together in these past few years. So even as I was doing the podcast, I was helping my father care for her in these last few years. So even while I was doing the show, she would always say, I heard you say this or talk about this and all of these things. So she always knew, that this was a passion project, and she was very supportive about it. She heard the last big thing that I did with BBC. So she knew any and everything that I was doing. She was always very supportive of it. And even with my sister as well and her endeavors, she was like a very supportive force. So I know that right now she's looking and she's just like, yeah, like you can do this. Because I was talking to my dad earlier. I was like, I don't know if I really can push through and do this. And he was just like, yeah, yes, you can. You can do this. You've been doing this. It's okay. So, and one thing I can say is that while watching wrestling, it has been giving me a great respite, as it has been doing my entire life. So it's been great, and I'm so happy to have had your support and everyone's support, like I said earlier. And we're gonna keep the train moving for as long as I can, because of course I am a human being. And this has been hard. So I'm taking it one step at a time and being as resilient as I possibly can. But I'm doing my very best. And yeah, Bianca, she was not a wrestling fan. Like, for the longest time, she would make fun of me and my dad and my sister, watching certain wrestlers, seeing certain gimmicks and making fun of things. But but she could still tell that, the older I got and the more I started caring about it, and caring about it even more from a content perspective. She was invested in it because she cared about what I cared about.
hmm,
And that is all you could ask for, from a parent.
yeah,
And I'm really grateful to have had that over the years, because some people be like, oh, well, I don't care about that. And they don't care. But no, like, mom cared because I cared. And
right.
that was just her spirit of things. And of course, she would poke fun and make fun of certain things, even still now. But, she cared about it because I cared about it. So with that spirit in mind, I know that there has been so much in wrestling that has happened. We aren't going to talk about the releases just yet, because something that I did write down a plan for is that I did want to do an episode about the New Day,
Okay.
because
Oh,
I feel like that in and of itself, that faction just deserves an entire episode in and of itself.
yes.
So we will address that and other things, but mostly we're going to address the New Day. But of course, tonight we're going to talk about Backlash, which has its history in wrestling, and that is coming up this Saturday on ESPN and also on Netflix internationally. And of course, historically, Backlash has been the pay-per-view that comes after WrestleMania. And WrestleMania this year, for better or for worse, was pretty insane. It was a
Yeah.
pretty insane, pay-per-view this time, of course, with it being in Vegas again. So real quickly, before we get into the history of Backlash, Bianca, tell me what did you love about WrestleMania this year?
Oh, wow. I really loved AJ's entrance. I really loved CM Punk's entrance.
Me too.
I really loved Danhausen's set and the whole gimmick with John Cena.
That was hysterical. Absolutely hysterical. Couldn't stop laughing. John
And the
Cena and The Miz are two of the most unserious people on the planet in order to make all of that happen. And it was incredible. I
yeah,
loved it. And I loved AJ's entrance too, because it just reminded me over the years of how many little girls and even grown-ups our
yeah,
age and a little bit younger who've dressed up like her holding different belts and such. So that was incredible. And then there was one little girl who got too scared and kind of just and ran to the back. And I was like, oh no. But it was really great. I love it when children are get to be a part of the show. I think
yeah,
that's sweet.
yeah,
And I loved Punk's entrance, and there was a lot of great entrances this year, I
yeah.
must say. So, um,
And I really loved
didn't
the
go ahead.
Bianca Belair's announcement.
Oh, uh, I wasn't expecting it, and I was expecting it, because what was so funny was I think something before that moment had me kind of upset, but then when she came out and her music hit, I was like, wait a minute, Bianca, and then she comes out and then she's in sort of like a blue version of the robe she had on last year. And I'm
Yes.
just like, what's going on? And then she comes out and announces that she's having a baby. And I'm like, oh, the mother gang, the
The
mother
blue gave it
gang.
away. I said,
Yeah. And then she's
having a
having a
boy.
boy.
Oh my
I
god.
know. I was so happy to see that. And it was just so interesting because, of course, if you watch Love in WWE, her and Montez, have considered growing their family for a while, but just didn't know how to do it because of their careers. So to see that it's happening now, even as she's healing from her finger injury and stuff,
Yeah,
I was happy for her. But then another part of me was just like, dang it, the pregnancy hits again, because with Naomi, I was so happy with her and her pregnancy, but like when it sort of takes you away, and you want, and the fan in you is selfish, but then the human in you is just like, you know what, yeah,
yeah,
I'm glad that you get to do this, because this is something that you really want to do, and it's a choice that you've made as a woman that you want to do.
yeah.
Then that's perfect. So happy Mother's Day to the both of them, my god.
Yes. Oh my god.
Happy Mother's Day to the both of them. Like, I mean, it's Naomi as a mother herself, even though she's been a stepmother, and even Bianca as a stepmom too. Like, they
Yeah.
get to, yeah, this is their real first Mother's Day. So yeah, that was incredible. I loved that, and it was beautiful. So yeah, but then there's also other parts that we do get into when it comes to Backlash, and stuff, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So y'all know me on the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. We got to get into the history of these pay-per-views, honey, before we get into what's actually going on in the present. Um, so the first Backlash took place in 1999,
Oh
and
really?
it was, yeah. So it's a relatively young pay-per-view in the grand scheme of a lot of them.
Oh.
And as you can see, the first flyer had Mankind, of course, Mick Foley, giving The Rock a mandible claw. And then on the side of that, you have Randy Orton, because Backlash was held annually from 1999 until 2009, until it was discontinued. And in 2009, Randy Orton was the last person to be on the cover of the featured superstar of the pay-per-view. But then it was continued. They brought it back in 2016, and it was held every year until 2019. And
Where?
of course, oh, I didn't write that down, surprisingly, but I believe it was the first one was in Rhode Island, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
So I forgot to write that down in the haste of everything. So please forgive my
No
brain.
worries. Hey.
I'm still trying to come back to life.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
So yeah, Backlash has was basically conceived to deal with all the craziness and the aftermath of WrestleMania, even though there have been a couple of backlashes that had nothing to do with WrestleMania, and they just did it as a pay-per-view just to have. But historically, they've sort of come back to that in more later years. Um, One of my favorite backlashes had to do with AJ Styles going up against John Moxley slash Dean Ambrose for the for the WWE Championship, and it also had the six-pack challenge. For I believe the inaugural SmackDown Women's Championship, in which Becky Lynch won.
Oh.
Um, and this was during the SmackDown Live era, which I really feel like is a very underrated era, and it deserves to be celebrated a lot more because there was a lot of great wrestling and a lot of great opportunity given to so many new people at that time during the SmackDown Live era. And this was a SmackDown branded pay-per-view, hence why you had a lot of SmackDown stars there. And it was just really cool, and I really enjoyed um that SmackDown that backlash in particular. And then of course you had the backlash of 2020, which of course happened during the pandemic, and this one was headlined by Adam Copeland slash Edge going up against Randy Orton in what they deemed the greatest wrestling match ever. Um, which
Why do
was
I feel like that happened at WrestleMania?
It did it. It happened at Backlash.
I feel like something like this happened at WrestleMania. Man, you were
No,
in
but
a matchup. Well,
well, yeah, this happened at Backlash that year. And the thing, even though a lot of people made fun of it online at the time, because a lot of people were like, well, the greatest wrestling match ever is actually this match or this match or this match. I feel like really what they were trying to do creatively was just trying to celebrate wrestling as a whole. Because it felt a lot like a throwback type of deal when it came to um elements of wrestling that we had seen over the past couple of years in the past, and also more so in the present at that point. So Backlash actually holds a lot of history when it comes to wrestling, and during the pandemic there was a lot for us to actually embrace and talk about. And of course this year's backlash will actually be the first PLE to take place in Tampa, Florida, because of course it is labeled Backlash Tampa, since Hell in a Cell 2021, which was during the Thunderdome era, which was sort of co-headlined by a Hell in a Cell match between Bianca Belair and Bayley. Because of course Bianca had just won the SmackDown Women's Championship against Sasha Banks slash Mercedes Moné in that historic match, and Bayley decided to start a beef with her, and they fought in that Hell in a Cell match, in which, of course, Bianca won. And this was just a really great hot streak for Bianca at that time. So, yeah, Backlash holds a lot of history in terms of wrestling. I don't know if Bianca, you've seen some of the stuff online where they have showed wrestlers in an old promo advertising Backlash saying the word backlash or something like that. But yeah, they've been sort of beefing it up a little bit. So yeah. Bianca, how are you feeling from learning some of the history of Backlash before we get into our predictions?
I didn't realize how young it is. I thought it was something like that. I thought that this like started like in the 80s, like those
Mm-hmm.
nostalgia. I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, it is kind of nostalgic since it was created in 1999, but I thought it was created earlier, like in the 80s. But have I seen a Clash? It's been a while. Like I'm sure I've watched Backlash. I just have to like um revisit and watch matches. But the information you gave me was wow. It was interesting. Um, yeah, thinking of yeah.
Yeah, I can
It
understand
really
that
to me.
and then the thing about Backlash that I was finding as I was looking up the history was just um how it was consistent until it wasn't, and then it was brought back. And then I also remember just the discourse that they were having online about it at one point being called WrestleMania Backlash, as if we didn't, as if the fans couldn't really put together that Backlash was after Mania like in the past. And a lot of people were very angry about that until of course they took the WrestleMania off and then continued to just still call it Backlash.
I
So
remember that.
yeah, it was hilarious and also kind of irritating, but the internet wrestling community, when we get a bone, we don't know how to really let it go.
Yeah. Why did they say that this is the aftermath of WrestleMania when the aftermath of WrestleMania is Raw after Mania?
I mean, yeah, there is that, but I feel like just in terms of a PLE, I think, or like a pay-per-view, it's the first pay-per-view after Mania. So, I think that's the reason why they sort of make it as big of a deal, if not a bigger deal, because of course the Raw after Mania is still, for all intents and purposes until recently has been on free television, right?
Yeah.
And it does have high stakes, of course, but here again, it's still on free television. Whereas Backlash is the first pay per view after Mania, and pay per views have a tendency, especially in more recent years, to have more higher stakes because of the exclusivity of it.
Yes.
So I think that's really what it is, not taken away from the grandeur of the Raw after Mania, because of course, that has a tendency to, turn up and be kind of crazy. But I feel like because of the exclusivity of it being a pay-per-view is why it's a much bigger deal. That's a good question. I'm glad you asked
Thanks.
that. So of course, there has been so much that we did discuss involving WrestleMania. But in terms of this year's Backlash, there is a lot that people really aren't feeling too pumped about, especially given the recent releases and a lot of the decisions that people in charge have made, along with TKO and so many different things. But
Yeah.
we are going to continue to plug on through and talk about this year's Backlash, which, like I said, is happening in Tampa, Florida. And of course, we're going to talk about the women first. Now, as it stands right now, there's only one women's match on the card for Backlash,
Wow.
um, which upsets people, which has upset people, and even upset me to a degree, because I'm just like, just one, really? Because in my mind, when it comes to highlighting the women, I would have loved, um, and I'm going to talk more about this, but I would have loved to have seen maybe, another match take place that's happening on SmackDown Friday happen on Backlash, or see Liv defend her title against someone. Um, but at the same time, I guess but we're going to talk more about the other matches that I would have loved to have seen, but we're going to talk about the one women's match that is on the card, and that is Io Sky versus Asuka. Now, this match was highly touted as a match that should have happened at WrestleMania,
Mhm.
because WrestleMania Sunday only had one match, which was Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley for the women's title.
That was the only
Um,
women's match? Oh my god.
that was the only women's match on that Sunday, because all the other female matches happened on WrestleMania
Oh,
Saturday.
okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Um, so a lot of people were really hoping that Io, especially with the way that she performed last year in that amazing triple threat between Rhea and Bianca, and just the amazing year she had in general, that she would have been on the WrestleMania card. But she wasn't, given her back and forth that she was having with Asuka over Kyrie as
Mhm.
well. But now Kyrie is no longer with WWE due to those releases, and now you have the battle of Io, the student, and then you have Asuka, the master, the senpai. And of course, that's in Japanese culture. And of course, I'm not as well versed in Japanese culture in that way. So there are other creators who are, like DS Shin with Ring the Bell, and so many others. So if you want to seek those people out who have more of the verbiage and more of the lore with that in terms of Asian wrestling culture, you can go seek those people out. But it seems like the biggest conflict they have is that Io basically lashed out and left Damage Control, and left Asuka behind in her tutelage, because she wanted to be friends with Rhea Ripley, and just sort of be her own woman and go after her own goals. And then, of course, on Monday, we saw them have that face off where Asuka actually spit, the green mist in her face. So, yeah, Bianca, before we get into our predictions for this match, I do want to ask you, do you feel the absence of Kairi Sane sort of takes away from this match, or are you still excited for it regardless?
I think it takes something. It takes something away from it, and oh, I am excited about the whole thing, but it just I don't want to say it's turning me off a little bit, but I don't know. It I'm still gonna watch. I still love. I'm still gonna like root. Uh, it's just there's like that that releases. I think Kyrie is the missing piece. She's the comedic effect. I love, especially when like oh I will miss when Kyrie stays by and then Oscar yells after her. That's
Mm-hmm.
funny. Who's gonna replace that? There's
Right.
gonna they need more in for the Japanese community. They need more representation in this
Right.
modern era. So it really stings. And Kai Sane has my pirate queen girl. Oh my god! I remember seeing her for the first time. Oh my gosh, her aura and her attire, her the insane elbow. You
Mm-hmm.
won't see that anymore. It blows, and it really sucks. And
Yeah, I do agree with you in the regard that I do feel like Kyrie is that missing piece because Io really was trying to pull Kyrie, away from the abusive nature of Asuka.
yeah,
And that conflict is now missing because Kyrie is no longer with the company. And I was really excited to see, a level of Kyrie that we didn't get to see in her initial run at first. So the idea of her not being there, it does take away a bit. And just to speak to your point about the Japanese representation, someone on Twitter mentioned that this is probably the first WWE match to feature solely two Japanese women.
I was
And I
thinking that
think
too.
that's amazing for them. But the idea of Kyrie not being there, just kind of bums everyone out to a degree. But I have no doubt that regardless, they're going to make the best out of the situation because, of course, that's what women do,
Yep,
especially women of color. That's something that we always do. We make the very best lemonade out of lemons.
exactly.
And if it's one thing these two women have shown us over the years is that these two can go. And I cannot wait to see all of the amazingness and all of the stardom teas that they're going to give us. Um, and I just can't wait to see the athleticism that these women are going to put on. So I'm predicting that Io will more than likely win this match. I'm predicting Io Sky will win this match and ride that momentum to greater things because she did have that little tiff a couple weeks back with Becky Lynch who was trying to relegate her to the nobody of the tag team with her and Rhea and called her Io Janetti, which I thought was just so disrespectful. I was just like, girl, how could you call her that when she literally had one of the best matches on the WrestleMania card last year, and then had that evolution match with Rhea, even though it ended with a cash in, it was still incredible. So, like, how dare you just say that to her? Like, it was just really interesting. I would have loved to have seen Io actually challenge her for the women's intercontinental championship. But of course, she could also, challenge Liv down the line. But either
Yeah,
way, I'm predicting that Io Sky is going to win. So, who's your prediction, Bianca?
I think Io as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
only because she's been through it with Oscar, and she needs her redemption. She needs her redemption song. She needs her redemption song.
Mm-hmm.
Or she needs her payback from all the backlash that she's endured from Oscar. I do want to ask, can you explain the Io Janetti name?
Yeah, so back in the day, Shawn Michaels got his big start in WWE as part of a tag team called the Midnight Rockers with this guy named Marty Jannetty.
Oh,
And I don't know if you've seen any of the older clips running around, just in wrestling period of Shawn Michaels super kicking a guy through a barbershop window set.
was it?
It was a long time ago, but essentially that was him and the Midnight Rockers breaking up that tag team so Shawn Michaels can go solo and be the Heartbreak Kid that we knew him as.
Oh,
Um so because he was in that tag team and because Shawn Michaels went on to be so successful in his career and Marty Jannetty, tried but wasn't as successful in his wrestling career, if someone calls you Marty Jannetty, they're basically calling you irrelevant.
yeah, she's not irrelevant. Oh my god.
Yeah, Becky
Not
was
at
hella
all.
disrespectful when she said that, and that made me mad. I was like, "Girl, that's terrible. Why would you say that?"
Yeah, she was disrespectful, and I'm not, and I'm not the, and it's not just me saying. It. Somebody already says it. Twitter's. Hell, maybe
Literally,
we can replace
everyone is saying it. Yes.
it. But yes, I would love yes, Io Sky for the win on Saturday. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. And I would
imagine.
love it.
I would love it if Io also sprays the mist in Oscar's face
Oh,
just
that
for
would
the
be
shock
cool.
factor, right? Oh my god, like blue mist or black
Mhm.
mist, not black mist. Oh my god, I can't do blackface. Maybe,
Or
yeah,
pink mist. Like you never know. Like the mist in my mind like comes in all colors. So if Io actually spits the mist in Oscar's face, that would be the best type of get back and I would live for that. Another theory that's running around online is that a lot of people think that they might pull in our truth and bring Kyrie back. um
I would love that.
I would love that too, simply because she was just such a great part of the story and you just never know. So that oh well, yeah, I don't know. But I don't know about that part. But that would be really great. But we're both on the EO Sky train when it comes to this match. So as we move forward, I did want to talk more about the women because I didn't want to just talk about this one women's match and then just leave it and just go to talking about the men. So on Friday, I feel like this is another match that could have been on the Backlash card. And actually, to be quite honest, I don't understand why the Women's United States Championship was not defended on WrestleMania, even though I know the Men's United States Champion. Well, actually, yes, it was. But I don't understand why exactly the Women's United States Championship wasn't defended at WrestleMania, but I am happy that Tiffany Stratton now has it. No shade, because I love Julia, but I feel like this match between her and Kiana James could have very well happened at Backlash because to this day, since the women's US title has been commissioned, it has not been defended on a pay per view.
Mm.
It's been almost 2 years, almost, I think, if not 1 year, then two. And it has not been defended on a pay per view. And I think that's very, strange. And I would love it if this match was taking place at Backlash as opposed to just having one female match there. But it is happening this Friday on SmackDown. Kiana James and Tiffany Stratton are going to fight for the title. And I'm pretty sure that's going to cause a wrinkle between in the business partnership of Kiana James and Julia. But I am still pumped about it because these two have historically had great matches, especially down in NXT when they were together. So I'm excited about it and I'm pretty sure Tiffany will retain. But I just wanted to post this here because I just really wanted this match to take place on Backlash, and I'm disappointed that it isn't. Bianca, do you have anything
I
to
want
add?
Kiana to win, and I
I
do
mean,
really wow. And I'm sorry, but the fact that this hasn't been defended on a pay per view 2 years since its inception is mind boggling to me.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just Yeah, I didn't realize that. But
Yeah.
um, wh- why do you think that is?
I'm not entirely sure. Like it's not something that I know or can say, and I will never pretend to know. But all I can do is just talk about how it actually bothers me because, of course, I was definitely a champion for them having women's mid card titles, and we've seen the women's intercontinental title, be defended on multiple PLEs.
Yeah,
So for the life of me, for this one to not be defended on any, it's just kind of strange to me. I don't know what the decision making process is behind that, but I hope somehow or another they fix it because it deserves to have that spotlight on it because of what the United States title means for the men, and definitely from an equality perspective for the women too. So yeah, I don't know why. I cannot pretend at all to know
yeah,
the answer to that. But all I can do is say that I feel that it should be defended on PLEs. Um, yeah, because we've had so many champions who could have defended it. Like we've had Chelsea Green, we've had Zelina, we've had Chelsea again, we've had Julia, and now we have Tiffany. And because Tiffany has been proven, to be a star, especially a young star, hopefully this will position the title for better things. But, it can't happen unless it's being booked that way.
yeah.
So, yeah. But either way, I am looking forward to this match. I just wish it was on the Backlash card. So, I'm not this really isn't fully open for predictions because like I said it's happening on SmackDown, but either way I just wanted to talk more about the women and just was a good excuse to do that. um Also, another match that could have happened on Backlash involving the women is Fatal Influence versus the women's champion Rhea Ripley and of course Charlexa. Because Fatal, another great thing that did make me happy during this down period is seeing the debut of JC Jane, Fallon Henley, and Lainey Reed. I'm so happy to have seen that. Like it was a wonderful debut.
Yeah.
And they are going strong so far on SmackDown and attacking everyone. And I'm glad to see Rhea and Charlexa, team up in order to fight them and take them down. But I really, here again, this is another women's match that I feel like could have taken place on Backlash. It really
Okay.
could have.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm pretty sure this would set up um another program for Rhea to have, another opponent for her title because of course Jade has lost and we haven't seen her since she lost at Mania. So of course this opens the door for more, challengers. It could be her and Charlotte again, you never know. Or it could be her and JC for the title, or her and Lainey for the title, or her and Fallon, you just never know.
I would
Or her
love.
and Alexa, you just never know. But I am excited for this 6-woman tag match. I just here again would have loved it if it were on the Backlash pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So, Bianca,
Yeah.
who do you think is, a really great next challenger for Rhea Ripley?
Just looking at JC Jane and her aesthetic and her attire and like her character and her aura, she's yeah, I would say JC Jane.
Mm-hmm.
They I don't want to say they're the same person, but they're the same they're the same person.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say they're the same person. I feel like, of
In
course,
terms of the attire.
Rhea Ripley, of course, is a rock star. And JC Jane kind of has that cool, sort of rock star persona as well. But of course, Rhea is more of a goth Amazon woman, with all of her tattoos and everything. Whereas, JC is more of like the clean cut, I'm too good for you, everything type of vibe. I I like that aesthetic, especially coming from a villain.
Mhm.
I feel like over these past few years, she really has solidified herself as a amazing villain, especially like seeing her growth down in NXT from being just in a tag team with Priscilla Kelly, aka Gigi Dolan, and then being a part of Toxic Attraction with Mandy and them. And then rising and being, her own star with her own faction is just it's amazing to see, and then her being a top villain down at NXT now, like, and then of course going to SmackDown and basically essentially doing the same thing and eliciting the same type of heat. It's just incredible to witness, and I'm so happy because she's worked so hard for so long, and I'm just really pumped, to see her challenge Rhea. I'm excited if that's the case. If she is next up to challenge Rhea, I'm pumped about it.
And the fact that they got booed on their debut was
So hard.
incredible. Oh my god. Like, wow. Not even like 10 seconds in, they're hated. Like, wow. That's all that's what you call those the the, they are stars. That's what you call star power. That's star quality right there. They are. I could see them Hall of Fame one day. Definitely a Hall of Fame caliber tag team. I definitely see that, and definitely see championships, main eventing WrestleMania, and yeah, just if if they ever do go solo, I definitely see JC Jane being at at being at a Rhea Ripley's caliber, if not Charlotte's caliber, if not both as high as at their caliber. So,
Absolutely.
mhm.
Yeah, I agree. Like, really, all three of them have what it takes, to be a star. But definitely JC. She just has it. And then that night when they got booed, of course, and then of course you also, that's also a testament to the way people love Rhea Ripley so much. Is that
Yeah.
if people didn't love Rhea Ripley so much, then that moment also would not have worked either. Because if you come against mommy, you
Mm.
know, everybody's going to hate you. And that would not have worked, number one, if Rhea wasn't so beloved. And also if JC didn't continue to feed into the fact that they did not want to hear what she had to say due because of it. So, and she was just feeding into the hate and just egging it on and egging it on. And that's just a testament to her, her being such a good bad guy. So I'm excited about this. I just wanted to, talk more about them and just, give them praise and give them love, because here again, this is another match I would have loved to have seen on the Saturday Backlash card. But it is happening on SmackDown, of course. But of course, cards are subject to change, so you never know what could happen. But as it stands right now, on Wednesday, those are all the women's matches that we do have to look forward to this weekend on SmackDown and Backlash. So we're moving now into the men of Backlash, and we have this heated rivalry right here, no pun intended, between Seth friggin' Rollins and Braun Breaker. You have the pupil lashing out, no pun intended here again, against the it just keeps flowing out of me, against the teacher. Seth Rollins brought and recruited Braun Breaker for the Vision just last year. And then, as quick as a flash, Braun Breaker wound up turning his back on Seth Rollins and usurped the Vision away from him. And of course, you have Logan Paul, a part of things. Austin Theory is in it, and they're the tag team champions. And of course, Paul Heyman is still doing their bidding and all of the above. And Seth Rollins, in his match at WrestleMania against Gunther, they had a stellar match, but then it gets interrupted and undercut by the interference of a returning Braun Breaker from his injury, who came back and gave him probably the craziest running spears I've ever seen in my life. The fact that Braun Breaker is not on the Las Vegas Raiders right now upsets me, and it always will, because we could use his skills, but he chose his path, and it's wrestling. So Seth and Braun have been fighting back and forth. They were definitely tussling. Um, Seth Rollins messed up his suit. They were tussling back and forth, spearing each other back and forth and everything on this past Monday. So it's going to be pretty crazy stuff. So, Bianca, who's your prediction to win this match?
I hope Seth Rollins does. I
Mm-hmm.
do. But then why do I feel like Braun Breaker will win? With the interference of them.
Mm-hmm. He
uh,
just might. He has that X factor. You're right.
mm, It's always so annoying. When
Mm-hmm.
good matches always get interrupted. So annoying. Ugh. But ugh. Mm, as much ugh. Yeah, that's yeah. That's my prediction. Seth Rollins, although I feel that that he'll that Ron will get help from his
Mm-hmm.
minions and then end up winning and then doing his shtick, his thing, spearing. But oh, yeah,
Yeah, I definitely predict that Seth is going to win, but I feel like he's going to get attacked afterward. He's going to get attacked afterward and he's going to have to recruit some help if he has not recruited help already, because on Raw backstage we saw him getting into it and talking to the Street Profits and everything. So I don't know. I feel like there's something else between him. He did have that standoff with Roman, but then he also keeps getting into these arguments with Montez Ford. And it's like a part of me feels like, Seth, why aren't you recruiting Montez to and Angelo to fight alongside with you to even up the odds instead of you getting into it with Montez all the time?
they have kids.
I know. Like, why don't you guys like why don't you guys, just, team up for once and not just, be so angry at each other all the time? Um, but then there's another part of me that would love to see a match between Seth and Montez. I just feel like that would just get me going. Like, cause I just love watching Montez Ford fight, solo. He's someone who I will always be excited to see, do solo work. No shade to Angelo, because I love Angelo and I love the Street Profits. Always have, always will. But I just feel like there's still so much treasure to unpack when it comes to Montez. And I feel like if there's going to be a feud between Seth and Montez, then they need to pull the trigger on that immediately. But we're here to talk about Seth and Braun. And I'm hoping that Seth has recruited the Street Profits to even up the odds against Braun Breaker and the Vision at the very least. Because if not, he's gonna get jumped. If he wins the match at Backlash Saturday, I feel like he's gonna get jumped afterward.
Yeah, I think they will come out to help him against the minions, and it'll and yeah, that makes sense. I definitely see the Street Profits making an appearance with a loud pod and
Mm-hmm. And then
fighting.
for yeah, so it is going to be a mess. I feel like it's one particular prediction I have outside of Seth winning is just the fact that it's going to be a mess, and I have due to all the interference.
It's gonna be ignorant.
It's going to be very real ignorant. Oh
We
God,
love you, Tony Wrestling.
I haven't said that in so long. Ignorant. It's just gonna be real ignorant, baby. We do love you, Tony Wrestling,
Mm.
and every other streamer. We love y'all so much. Lord have mercy. Every other reactor, every content creator, we love you all.
Mini Portable
We're all in this together.
on the ring. My
Yes.
girl, it's Wheezy Brown.
We love you. Um, so as we move forward with our predictions, we do have a United States Championship match, a rematch from WrestleMania, between Trick Williams and Sami Zayn. I feel like this is probably actually the only proper rematch from WrestleMania that's happening on this card so
That's
far.
true. Yeah.
Um, and of course, Sami Zayn is crashing out. Even though he's trying to pretend like he isn't crashing out, he is crashing out. He's angry. He's upset that he's been bypassed by Trick Williams and all of these things. And he wants his United States Championship back. And he's so angry that he even took it out on the gingerbread man. Because, of course, Trick Williams and Little Yachty, who they did say is supposed to be there Saturday, which I am looking forward to because I do like Little Yachty being there, because
Yeah.
he plays his role. To me, he's a celebrity who plays his role really well and doesn't really overstep as much.
Mm.
He's not like he's not someone who sort of, how you sort of feel, how you can feel when a person is there and they're sort of trying to force feed it to you as opposed to you wanting to see it naturally.
Like that guy in Vision.
Yeah, exactly. Like I
Yeah.
feel like that's what Little Yachty gives. Cause my thing is, I was never not a fan of celebrities being a part of wrestling. I've always loved it because that's always been a thing. as quiet as it's kept, you know,
Yeah.
because I feel like us wrestling fans and our memories, and I also feel like the lack of media literacy to a degree kind of bites us in the butt as wrestling fans, because celebrities have always been a part of wrestling and they've always been a part of WrestleMania. So the idea of celebrities being a part of it now is it's not something that I'm angry about or pissed about, because it's always been there. And I feel like that just brings more eyes to the product. And, you know, I never had an issue with it. And Little Yachty being on the team with Trick Williams is just, I mean, it just makes sense. It's cool to me. And Little Yachty doesn't try to overplay his role. And I like that.
That's good.
So
Like you mean he does what he needs to do and leaves.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he does what he needs to do. He chimes in when he needs to chime in,
Hmm.
you know, and he actually cares, which is another thing I like about when celebrities are part of wrestling. It's like you can tell the ones that are there for the sake of being there, but then you can also tell the ones that are there because they actually care.
Yeah.
And Little Yachty has shown that he cares. Even Trick Williams has mentioned that how much he actually cares about it. Um, so I'm okay with this. But like I said, Trick and Sammy, it's so funny because Trick on SmackDown was already ready to fight Sami Zayn for the title anyway, but because the gingerbread man is now dearly departed,
Oh
um
my god.
he's fighting for the honor of the gingerbread man. And then of course
This is
Friday they're
insane.
having a funeral for him, and it is so
Oh, I
hilarious.
don't. Oh my.
It's
Oh.
so silly and it's so funny to me because I'm just like, this gingerbread man has just, it's hilarious to me because of how much it looks like Gingy from Shrek. Like, that's what makes me laugh so much about this gingerbread man. It's just the fact that y'all use it to insult Sammy, but then you bring in the mascot and he looks so much like gingerbread man from Shrek. I can't. It's hilarious. This is the hilarity that I love in my wrestling. Like everything doesn't have to be so serious, and
Yeah.
sometimes you just gotta giggle. But
Yeah.
the idea that Sami Zayn attacked this poor gingerbread man,
Oh my
and
god.
and and then to make matters worse, he did
Tell
this.
me, or I'll...
Oh
No,
my.
not the buttons! Not my gumdrop buttons! All right. Tell me!
He the
Tell me, or I'll...
he took the gun drop buttons, and that is what did him in. He took the gun drop button. Sami Zayn is not the gingerbread man anymore. He's Lord Farquaad. He's Lord Farquaad now, and the gingerbread man is now no longer with us. So now Trick Williams is fighting not only for his title, but for the honor of the gingerbread man. So I'm predicting that Trick Williams is gonna retain the United States Championship. This is his first main roster title, and I just feel like due to shenanigans or anything else, I just feel like he's gonna retain.
I can't even be mad at that because I watched RuPaul's Drag Race, and that show teaches me to love the stupid, to love the absurdity, to love the lunacy, and to embrace it. I'm not mad at it. It's just so stupid and in the best way possible. In the best way. Oh my god, it's so campy, so ridiculous. Just like Danhausen.
Exactly.
Can't be mad at that. It's so ridiculous. It's so stupid and it's so delightfully, so wonderfully and delightfully stupid. I love it.
Yeah, it's
At
like
first,
watching cartoons because
yeah.
honestly, I mean, think about how many children watch wrestling week to week, and they've probably been invested in the aftermath of the gingerbread man dying. Like that's what I think about, because I mean I don't have any children, but I love children. So I never, so for me it doesn't take a lot for me to, you know, see things from a child's perspective. So imagine being a kid watching wrestling nowadays, and then you're angry at Sammy because because he hurt the gingerbread man. Like that's
Mhm.
real. That's real for a child. That's very real stuff. So, you know, sometimes I feel like we got to turn off our adult brains at times and just watch things from a child's perspective.
Just like Darcy
And
Children.
like we used to, like you used to when you were a kid. And so it's funny. I think it's funny. I don't know. I don't think I wouldn't call it stupid. I just call it funny and just really silly. because I'm a goofball, so I love stuff like this. But for real, what are your predictions, Bianca, for this match?
I think Trick will win. I think this will make Sammy crash out. Look at his face. Look at that beard.
Yeah, he's angry.
um, um, I just why do I but then why do I keep thinking about Kevin Owens returning
Mm.
Flash to help to either help Sammy calm down or to like help help his friend. And then at the end, no, well, not attack him at the end. Yeah, just to help Sammy because Trick has Lobo by his side, so he needs his friend. Um, yeah, but I think Trick will win with
Yeah,
returning.
that's a good prediction because we haven't seen Kevin Owens in a year. Now, of course, that doesn't necessarily mean he would come back and fight, of course, because a neck injury is very serious. So you have to be careful when it comes to that. He could come and be Sammy's moral support. But I have a whole other prediction involving another person that isn't Kevin Owens.
Ooh.
Um, because I am such a big fan of Carmelo Hayes, a part of me feels that Carmelo could cause a wrinkle in things because he is someone who he was, of course, the United States champion before Sami Zayn used his underhanded tactics to capitalize on Carmelo getting attacked by Trick Williams. I feel like he could cause a wrinkle into things as well. And because, a lot of people were saying, where's Carmelo? Where's Carmelo? After WrestleMania, he did tweet and say, see you soon with a picture. So he could show up on Friday, he could show up on Saturday, and he could cause a wrinkle into things. So the way that you feel that maybe Kevin Owens could come and be a moral support for Sammy, somehow or another, I feel like Carmelo could very well come in and cause a wrinkle for both Trick and Sammy, and then try to reinsert himself back into the United States title picture, which he shouldn't have which you could argue that he should not have lost in the first place.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, because he has to get his lick back, but because of that, and also because of his open challenges and everything, he had to miss Mania, and a lot of people were very angry about that, including me. But so I'm just saying, like, Carmelo Hayes could also be someone who could, cause a new wrinkle into things. Yeah,
You never know. We shall
you
see.
never
You
know.
never know.
And let me just say, this interaction that happened before WrestleMania between Trick and Carmelo really bummed me out a bit because it's almost like looking into like a reverse mirror, because once upon a time it was Trick and Mello gang like in NXT.
Yeah.
And Trick wasn't even wrestling fully at that point, and he was really the moral support for Mello until they broke up. And now you see Trick, who's grown into who he is, and now he has little Yachty with him, and it's almost like, the same thing except a whole in a different packaging. It's really insane how things evolve.
Right. Oh my god. I thank you for refreshing my memory because yeah, they did have their whole tag team. Oh my god. I love it when this is why I love NXT when they like go up in the main roster. They like have more storylines because they're more evolved. I love that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then they make it make sense now too,
Yeah.
because back in the day under another regime, they used to pretend that NXT stuff didn't matter or NXT lore didn't matter, whereas now they completely fully acknowledge NXT as a third brand and acknowledge the lore between a lot of the people that get called up. So they don't insult our intelligence in that way. Like if you watch all the shows hardcore, they reward you for that in that way. And I really appreciate that, because for years it was almost like night and day, and now it's not. It's just like it's the natural progression.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot. So yeah, we could see Carmelo Hayes pop back up Friday or Saturday. And I hope so, because I miss him.
You miss him.
I miss him. And I love that him shirt. I gotta get it. I gotta get it. I gotta get it because his shirts were fresh to death. I gotta get it. I gotta lock in. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Another interesting match we have. Speaking of the silly, we have a tag team match between The Miz and his pupil, Kit Wilson, going up against Danhausen and a mystery tag team partner of his choosing who loves human monies. There's two sets of predictions here. Number one, who's going to win this match? And number two, who do you think his partner is? I've seen people say that they feel like it might be CM Punk because CM Punk and Danhausen are friends and he likes human monies. I don't know. It's really hard to say. I almost feel like maybe it could be Johnny Gargano. Maybe. It could really be anybody knowing Danhausen. A part of me wants it also to be R-Truth for some reason because him and R-Truthhausen would be so silly and I would bust my gut laughing. Oh my god. I don't know. I just don't know. It really is a mystery when it comes to Danhausen. But I'm gonna predict that Danhausen and his mystery partner are gonna win because The Miz and Kit Wilson,
Look at that.
they're a pretty okay tag team, but of course they've been cursed, so I think the fix is in. What do you think, Bianca?
I love that the Miz has been in WWE for this long, and then and for as long as he's been in WWE, he's kept up with not only the bad guy, but like the funny and serious bad guy. Does that make sense? Like,
yes, it makes a lot of sense.
And there, I love this storyline. I love. It's so funny and so ridiculous. I do think that Danhausen and his mystery guest will win. Speaking of Danhausen, every time I see, I always try to avoid seeing like pictures of him unmasked. Because like it just doesn't feel right seeing him without a mask, without did I say unmasked? Without paint.
Yeah.
Because it just like the Allstate guy. I don't want to know his name. He's the Allstate guy. Like I don't want to see. I don't know. It just wouldn't feel. I mean, it just wouldn't feel right seeing him without face paint. Like every time I stumble upon pictures of him, I just like get it out of my face like real quick because like I don't want to see it. I don't know. It just I like this. Like Rey Mysterio, like Rey Mysterio, seeing him without a mask, it doesn't feel right. I know you without a mask. You're the King of Mystery. That's your name. You're Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
But I do think that has a moment.
I understand that sentiment because I felt the exact same way the first time I saw Ray without his mask. Like my dad showed me and I low-key felt like I cursed for the first time. Because I was just like, what do you mean? Like without his mask? That's bad. But then come to find out to see him without his mask, to see Rey Mysterio without his mask is to be blessed because that's a good looking man. Like his wife is very lucky because he is gorgeous. Rey Mysterio is a gorgeous man. I love seeing the old clips of him in WCW with his mask off because that man was cute, like for real. But yeah, I understand how you feel seeing people without their, persona on. It's very different. It's very evil, very not nice.
No, not at all. And the fact that the man behind Danhausen, he's a father and a husband was the last thing I expected to hear. It's just very unexpected. I don't know.
Yeah, the thing that surprised me was just the fact that Danhausen really is his last name. Like that.
It is?
It is. I looked it up. I kid you not. Like Danhausen really is his last name.
What?
For real.
We've been saying his last name this whole time. Oh
Yeah,
my
I think that's
god.
amazing though, because I mean, what? Well, I'm biased because I've done this for years, but what better brand to get behind than your own name?
And it
Seriously.
sounds very campy, Danhausen.
Yeah. It
I love
sounds
it.
like it's great, but then it also sounds like a name that you would hear like in like a very scary book, like in an episode of Goosebumps or something. I like it.
Me too. Me
I
too.
like it. We love Danhausen. So hopefully the Hardy Wrestling Podcast will never be cursed. So yeah, we're both predicting that Danhausen, whoever his mystery partner is, will definitely win.
I
Um
remember hearing. I remember. I would follow CM Punk when he would be at when he wasn't in WWE, and just seeing him, just seeing that name, I wasn't like. I think he was. I think it was at AEW. Can I say
right.
that? Um.
Yes, you can, of
Okay.
course.
Okay. I I think that during that era was when I was first introduced to Danhausen.
Me too.
Because oh really? Okay, I'm
Yeah.
not the only. Okay, cool. And then I and seeing him now and seeing how like he and like getting to know him and seeing why people love Danhausen and seeing why CM Punk likes Danhausen. That's the his introduction at what was it WrestlePalooza?
No, Danhausen's introduction was at Elimination Chamber this year.
Was it?
Yeah,
Huh.
that was at Elimination Chamber this year because it was in Chicago.
It was.
Yeah.
And then and wow and oh, that's right. But I
Yeah,
really love
and I remember how everybody thought for sure it was going to be someone else, but then when it turned out to be Danhausen, people online were trying to add like, "Oh my god, I'm so disappointed," only for Danhausen to now be more over than ever before.
yeah.
Get it
Yeah.
together, guys. Relax. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but yeah, I just really like Danhausen and getting to know him and just I get it. I get the shtick. I get it. It's he's really funny, and I love
Mm-hmm.
that he's a family man, and
Yeah.
I love that the fact that he gets actual the fact that people actually give him money not just for his merch, but like just because. Do you see the amount of money CM Punk gives Danhausen?
Yeah, and then did you also see how he actually how because he cursed Stephen A. Smith on ESPN and he cursed the New York Knicks, they weren't winning, and then when he reversed the curse on a cameo for a fan, they actually started winning more, and now I believe they're still in the playoffs if I'm not mistaken.
You
That was
see,
so that's hilarious to
yeah,
me.
yeah,
Like
that
that's the kind of stuff I really enjoy. Like I enjoy the crossover and I also appreciate how silly it is, but it also teaches you a lesson. Like you got to be careful of the words you say
yeah,
because they can become real. Like
that's the thing.
words have power. Like that is
Yeah,
very much a thing.
that's the thing. I'm like, does Danhausen have powers? Because like I feel like
Mhm. He has
saying
powers.
this is like wow, that's just like I feel some like magic, like I don't know, I feel some energy. I don't know. It just I think without the mask, like he's cool. He's like a normal guy, but with the mask, he has magic power.
Yes. He's
That's
he's a
so
magical being
I love that. It's so I
even
want
though even though his disappearing acts aren't exactly the greatest cuz he'll try and like in a puff of smoke and he'll still be there. It's so funny, and then he'll run off. Oh my god! Oh, Danhausen never change.
he
It's
reminds me of
it's
Beetle. He reminds me of Beetlejuice.
exactly. He does remind me of Beetlejuice. I see that. Great observation.
Do you remember the last shtick at Mrs. House in the pool?
Yeah.
That whole thing reminded me of like those 90s villain, well, not villains, those, it reminded me of Beetlejuice. It reminded me of those freaky
90s cartoons.
campy,
Yeah.
not only cartoons, but like those movies with the freaky and campiness of it all. That jump from the pool, like he, how I want to know how he thinks about this and like what it takes for him to create these videos and montages and is it vignettes? Those I want to know his thought process. I want to know because he's very creative
Mm-hmm.
and make and he's only wrestled many like uh, he hasn't wrestled a lot, but seeing him wrestle, like he has moves. Oh my god, I'm very
Exactly.
surprised. Very shocked.
Yeah, Danhausen might be very silly, but don't get it twisted. When it's time to get in that ring, like when he fought like on WWE for the first time, like I was just like, wow, okay, like you really can go like when it comes down to it. So he's a very very substantial talent, and he's very hilarious, and
Yeah.
I need his shirt too. Um, I need to shop. But yeah, but back to just the predictions of it all. We love Danhausen. He's very evil, very nice, and we want him to win this tag team match. And we can't wait to see who his mystery partner is going to be. And I also love Kit Wilson too. Like, I love him. I've always loved him. I loved him even when he was with in Pretty Deadly with Elton Prince. Get well soon to him. I loved Pretty Deadly so much. So to see Kit Wilson sort of jump out on his own with this is really cool for me. But yeah, Danhausen for the win. And finally,
wow,
we have this beefy match right here between Roman Reigns, the new world heavyweight champion. I'm so sorry, Bianca. I know you wanted CM Punk to win.
I was mad.
I know you did. I know you did.
Oh
I
my
wanted Punk to win too, but you know, the facts are the facts, and Roman Zebro is the world heavyweight champion.
I don't
And
remember if
he's
I reacted. I just like 1, 2, 3. I just gave up. It was.
I wanted to cheer you up. I just wanted to cheer you up.
I don't think now is not the time for that.
I just wanted to cheer you up, Bianca.
There's a time and place for stuff. And
I never get tired of it. I just don't.
And I'm wearing his shirt. Oh my god, look at
Exactly.
man. And when AJ lost, child.
I'm so sorry, but the facts are the facts. Roman Reigns, the OTC, is the world heavyweight champion. And look, they've been pissing a lot of people off, so it seems like that's been par for the course over the last few weeks. But he is fighting his family again. Because Jacob Fatu, fresh from defeating Drew McIntyre in an unsanctioned match, decided he wanted to step to his cousin, maybe, I don't know the specific relation, I think it's cousin, and challenge for the world heavyweight title. He's made the jump to Raw, and this match is happening. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this surprised me when Jacob challenged him, because of course Jacob was, doing his thing on SmackDown. But of course, in the moving around of things, I understand how that can go. But to see him challenge Roman, I'm not gonna lie, as much as I love Jacob Fatu, it bummed me out that a certain ruler did not challenge Roman. So before we get into predictions, let me just say this was one of my favorite parts of WrestleMania. I haven't said it's on record yet. This was one of my favorite parts of WrestleMania. I was so glad that Obafemi beat and subsequently retired Pumpkinhead. It was an amazing display of strength. Oba did what needed to be done, and he is now the new big bad. However, having Obafemi in these open challenges, I mean, it's okay, but I feel like once you defeat one of Roman Reigns' greatest rivals, why aren't you moving on to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship? Maybe they're waiting for a bigger moment for him to do that. That's bigger than Backlash. But I was disappointed that it wasn't Oba challenging Roman instead. Um, Even though I understand that there is another chapter and another layer of bloodline stuff that they could do with Roman and Jacob, I wanted it to be Oba versus Roman. To me, that just made sense. Bianca, tell me how you felt about number one, Oba winning at Mania, and number two, did it surprise you to see Jacob challenge Roman?
Well, the whole oh my gosh, this whole match. I'm I was rooting for Oba. I'm really glad he won. After the whole thing after, I said he's done. And then he started taking off his gloves, and I was like, I was just kidding, and then it actually happened. But I digress. I'm really happy. I'm really happy Oba won, and that entrance though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, that is one of my favorite entrances to date.
Me
Oh
too.
my god, oof.
Chills inducing.
Everyone saying Oba, that long walk. Oh my god. I haven't
Yep.
watched it back, but I hold that entrance that entrance has a special place in my heart along with AJ's and Punk's and more. Yo. Oh my god, and he just the fact that he just came up on the main roster and
Right.
now he's has this star quality to him, insane. And now
Right.
and all those and I'm so happy he won. I'm really happy he won. He has and he's going places. And
I prayed for it and it happened.
amen.
I
Let's
legit prayed for it, okay?
let's
Like legit, like full on, I asked God.
it will happen. It will definitely happen. I just don't want I just fear and feel like someone or something will mess his run, will mess up, will mess. Well, I mean, I don't want to drink something, but I just hope no one messes something up for him or does
Mm-hmm.
something or to like put him in some weird situation. You know, like that. What like I mean, what they've what they do with um yeah like I mean because that is something that WWE does, all the weird stuff. I just don't want him to like fall under that trap because he's that good and we all see it.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I'm praying hard. Um, but back to going to but going and talking about Jacob and Roman. I'm actually happy this is. Oh, I I'm actually I don't know how I mean I'm act, I'm looking forward to it. Um, I'm actually happy. I'm actually very excited that this is I'm actually very excited that this is happening. Um, when he appeared on Raw, anytime Jacob, I love any Jacob Fatu um appearance. He always hypes it up, and he's always so fresh. And I'm really excited. I'm really happy this is winning, and he better win. Although, ah, oh gosh, although some stuff will happen. like they always do. I'm rooting for Jacob. I'm rooting for Jacob. Do you hear his do you hear his mic work? Do you see his mic work? Do you hear his promos?
Mm-hmm.
Fire every time. Oh my gosh. And yeah, he's unserious, but he's serious. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense? Just like in
Yeah.
Roman, he's always unserious. I mean, I hope I'm answering your question, or am I just rambling? Oh my gosh.
No, I mean, you are answering my question
Okay.
because Jacob has earned this opportunity. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, even though a part of me would have loved for Oba to have the opportunity,
Yeah.
he still has time. Whereas Jacob, of course, being a part of the bloodline, I'm happy that he has his opportunity because he's worked so hard his entire career, even before WWE. And of course, with all that he's overcome in his
Yeah.
life, he deserves an opportunity like this. And I'm happy that he does have it. And yeah, like you mentioned with his mic work, he's very intense and you believe him. You believe every word he says. You believe, his movements. You believe the way he wrestles. Even though it surprises you with how athletic this man is, you believe everything about Jacob Fatu. And I definitely love that promo that him and Royce Keys / Powerhouse Hobbs had when they were, bonding over their California connection. Like, that was really cool too. Like, you believe stuff like that because it's authentic. Like, Jacob is authentic. He's real. And I love that someone as real as him can have an opportunity like this. Um, so I am happy for him, don't get me wrong. So
Yeah.
I understand everything you're saying, Bianca. But I will say this, the thing that does boggle my mind a bit in terms of this bloodline storyline is wondering if this is going to result in Roman either winning the match by himself or using the Usos to cheat like he used to do. And then them beating down Jacob so bad to where he has to fall in line and join the family like everything used to be back in the day. Like, is Roman gonna fall back into those old habits where you have to acknowledge me or else I will beat you into submission? Or is this a new reformed version of the tribal chief that we're seeing? That's really my biggest questions going into this match. So with that in mind, as much as I love Jacob and I would absolutely love it, love it, love it, love it, love it if he won the World Heavyweight Championship, I think Roman is going to retain. But I think this is where we are going to see what Roman's actual intentions are in terms
Yeah.
of reuniting with the Usos. Is it going to be something diplomatic or is it going to be something abusive like it once was? And is he going to try to beat Jacob into submission because of it? Because then you also have the violent nature of it too, because Jacob ran up on that dude and did the Tongan death grip. He tried to take that man's windpipe out twice. So yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be violent for sure, but I'm definitely predicting that Roman is going to win.
As much as I hate it, I think Roman's gonna win too. Yeah. Mm. Mm. But I want to see Jacob Fatu with the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, that would be sick.
Right. I don't. Has he ever won? Well, this has.
No, he won the United States title last year
Okay.
at WrestleMania. So he
Okay.
has held gold in
That's right.
WWE before, but not
Yeah.
the top gold.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. He definitely needs that top. He definitely looks like a top man. He proved himself that he's a top man.
He can
So
be.
yeah.
And if he doesn't win it this time, he definitely has another chance. He
Yeah.
he could definitely get another chance. Like, the sky is the limit for him. But I'm just wondering, like, are the Usos going to help Roman win, or is Roman going to do it himself? Because he did defeat CM Punk by himself at Mania.
Yeah. He did.
But so a part of me is just wondering, how is this going to play out in the new bloodline of things? Interesting things to think about. Backlash Tampa, has the potential to be a really good pay-per-view. like I said earlier, it will be airing on on the ESPN app, but the first hour is going to be on ESPN2 on the TV on the cable. And of course internationally it will be on Netflix. So yeah, we have a lot to look forward to with this pay-per-view. I'm very excited about it, you know, regardless, and it's going to be a cool weekend regardless, even with SmackDown being before it as well. So I'm pumped.
Yes.
So something else I do want to mention before I go is that I wanted to talk about how I was blessed to have been featured on a BBC podcast. So for those who may or may not know, BBC is, you know, basically CNN for Great Britain. And they have different networks of news involving, you know, television news, mass media, podcasts and everything. And I got to do an interview for their Business Daily podcast for the BBC World Service on the episode that they released on April the 15th called How Wrestling Became Big Business. They released it during WrestleMania weekend, and I was very proud to have been a part of it. I'm also proud because this was a major moment. Because just the idea of people listening to me, you know, in the United States is cool, but the idea that people would want to listen to me in the UK is even amazing too. So I'm really grateful for that and thankful to BBC for even thinking of me in that regard. And then it also means a lot because this was the last major thing that my mom got to hear me do.
Oh.
She listened to it and she was very excited. My dad told me when he had her listen to it, that she wasn't paying attention like in the first few seconds, but then when she heard my voice, she was like, oh, you know. So I'm really grateful that I got to do that, and that was the last thing she got to hear me do before she passed. So if you have not already, go on BBC World Service and go on their Business Daily podcast and scroll a little bit down because they do release episodes every other day. And listen to that because that episode got released during WrestleMania weekend, and I just wanted to talk about it on the pod because I didn't have a chance to, given life stuff. So yeah.
It's a great interview I listened to. She gives great insight on wrestling. So the way she talks about wrestling on here is what she does on a much more professional. I mean, it is professional. She's very professional on this um uh
Episode.
episode. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's a very great listen. She's very insightful. She knows what she's talking about. She's she's a very great wrestling historian, and she gives great facts, and she knows the facts. She knows what she's talking about, and yeah, please give it a listen. I listened to it. It's amazing, and I'm really happy I'm really happy a mother got to listen to this and witness this before she went on to greener and the great beyond.
Yes, the
So
ancestral plane.
yes, say
Yeah.
her name one more time for.
Yes, her name is Sephra Hardy. Sephra Adeline Hobson Hardy is her whole
Wow.
name. Yeah.
May your
Yeah.
may always be a blessing.
Absolutely. So that brings us to the end of our time together. So I'm so happy to have done this episode, and I'm so happy to have done this episode with you, Bianca. Tell everybody where they can find and follow you and what else you have going on.
Yeah, I have some things coming up. I have um You can follow my ring announcing journey on Instagram and TikTok at Ebony Rose Ringside. That's EBONI Rose ROSERINGSIDE. Ebony Rose Ringside. Spell that 5 times. If you want to follow me on the personal level, get to know me on a personal level, you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Bianca Addison. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Right.
Cool. Awesome sauce. So, of course, you can follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy. You can follow the show, The Hardy Wrestling Podcast, on Instagram at Hardy Wrestling Podcast and on Twitter/X at Hardy WrestlePod, like on the bottom of the screen. And of course, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is, of course, The Hardy Wrestling Podcast with the purple logo that you see in the corner over there. Get those subscriber numbers up. And of course, repost and like and share different video clips as they are shared throughout this weekend, because I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, slowly but surely. So, just bear with me. But either way, that's where you can find and follow all the stuff there, and just continue to support the vibe and support us as Black women in wrestling media and Black women in media as a whole, and just continue to just support the content creators out here doing their things and doing their best to express their love of professional wrestling, in so many different ways, shapes, and forms, and also continue to hold on to your love for professional wrestling, because I think it's easy to get caught up in the dirt sheets, and it's easy to get caught up in rumors and just so many ups and downs and changes of wrestling, but you'd really have to appreciate and just dive into why you love wrestling and hold on to that and not let that get tainted just because things change. Life is made of change. But you have to learn how to adapt and also have an open mind, which is another great lesson that my mom taught me in life, is that you have to have an open mind, and know that even though your favorites won't be here anymore, they could be somewhere else and you could see them operate in another different function. And you have to be open to that level of change and that level of evolution. So it's going to be okay. We're going to hold on and we're going to still love wrestling for what it is and for what it gives us. And we're going to try our best to just hold on to the things we love. So,
Well said. And keep on keeping on.
absolutely. So, of course, this has been the Hardy Wrestling Podcast with your girl, Stephanie Hardy, and Bianca Addison. And until next time, bye, y'all.
Bye.